On this episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast, we talk about Deceiver by Chemists. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a doom metal album from 2021 called Deceiver by Chemists, which is a band that we have not talked about in a long time.
Right.
We talked about their first album, Absolution. I think it was Absolution, a long while ago.
Long while ago.
I have vague memories of us talking about Hunted, maybe, but that
was the EP, right?
That was their second album.
Oh, okay.
They've got a couple of EPs out as well that I think are all covers of like classic folk songs. There's one EP called Doomed Heavy Metal where the only thing that springs to mind is there's a cover of A Conversation with Death on there. Or whatever the name of that song is, though. Oh, death. Those are the only words I know. I know it's like a classic, like I think like a bluegrass song or something like that. But they've got a couple of those.
You know, I have to say, in listening to this, it felt to me less like a doom metal album, but something was more inspired by doom metal.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of blur the lines. They tread into like some epic doom territory as well. Sort of blending. They definitely blend in a ton of just classic heavy metal in there as well. Some bluegrass, but also they're not bluegrass. Sorry, I meant to say blues rock.
Blues rock, yeah. It gets very rock and roll in places.
And then also this album in particular, more than their last two, I think, they brought in a bit more of the sort of the harsh vocals that they had. Even it was only occasionally on their first album they incorporated some screamed vocals,
right,
and little bits of like some black metal and death metal here and there. Definitely not tempo wise, but some, vibes wise, I guess.
Yeah, it actually caught me off guard when it first started here. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it either. I kind of thought they had decided they weren't going to do screamed vocals anymore, but there's a lot more on this album than there has been on anything that I can remember. I might have to go back and listen to their first three albums and see if that holds true or not. But in my memory, it seems like it's true.
Yes.
But, anyway, we'll talk more about Chemists later on. We usually spend the first part of the episode just talking to each other and catching up. And even we call it catching up as if we don't talk to each other a lot at work. But I guess here we can talk about stuff we wouldn't normally talk about at work because we're at work.
And kind of vice versa. There's some things we talk about at work that we probably wouldn't want on a recording.
Exactly. Although it's ironic because we work in a building that is full of microphones. That's something I had thought of while I was at like a remote a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Someone swore and went like, and I was like, the microphone's not on. Don't worry about it. And also we're just hanging out. It's okay. It's like, it's interesting to me. This is you overheard because you sent a text about it. It's like, it's interesting that DJs are as foul-mouthed as they are for people that work in buildings full of microphones.
Yeah. What was it? I said something with just lots of swear words in it.
Yeah, I could probably pull up the text. It was pretty funny when I read it. I didn't repeat it because it was a little too spicy to repeat. What did you say? Oh, it's because we're all a bunch of fuck shitting cunts. And there we've earned our explicit tag. But yeah, like it's something, from day one working at the station, just like, oh, these people swear a lot.
Yeah.
And it's always the DJs, the salespeople that we've had over the years. not usually particularly foul-mouthed,
Right.
but all of the people who actually do the talking on the air, for some reason, we just swear like sailors.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why that is. Just a certain kind of person, I guess.
I think it's because we're the creative types.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
that's something you find in creative types. Creative language.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
But how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I went camping this last weekend.
Yeah, hell yeah. How I don't think I heard all that much about the camping. How was all that?
It was fun. It had been since I was a teenager that I'd camped in what is called Old Settlers Park,
Okay.
which is on the outskirts of Burlington, North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
So it's a short drive.
Yeah.
Just out there. But
It's a nice area over there.
it is a beautiful little campground.
Yep.
One thing I didn't remember is that there really aren't any fire pits.
Oh,
Yeah,
That kinda sucks.
They have barbecues,
yeah.
so we had to put
It's
logs
one of
on
those
the barbecue.
Those parks are always weird to me. Where like you can camp, but there's no fire pits, but there is this clearly what's meant to be a wood fire like barbecue stove.
Yeah,
I guess you could theoretically set up your camp chairs around the barbecue.
that's what we did.
That's what you did. It's just it's sitting up at chest height, which is weird. Yeah, those parks have always been a little weird to me, where it's like you can have a fire, but it just can't be on the ground.
right. It can't be something that's useful.
Yeah, it can't be something that you would want to do while you're camping.
Right.
Which, sure, I guess
Okay.
it's probably safer to have it up elevated like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We put wieners on it. Made
There you go.
s'mores on it.
It's just not fun to sit around and tell spooky stories.
Right. Around the barbecue.
So let's gather around the barbecue and let's tell some ghost stories. No, I'm glad you had a good time.
And there were a bunch of kids there.
Of course.
A lot of kids, and you know, my 13-year-old was along, and he's like, he's trying to hang in there. They're very, very creative and energetic children.
Of course.
And Max was having a hard time with it, and Max is like, how are you coping with this? And I'm like, vodka.
You're not old enough for this coping mechanism. You're going to have to figure out something else.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Yes. Love them dearly. They're wonderful children.
But, I mean, kids in general can just be a lot.
Oh, you're right. Even my own kids.
Yeah. It's a great, I love my nephews, but wonderful thing about being an uncle is that if I get tired of them, I can just kind of be like, hey, what's your mom doing? Be like, sorry, Caitlin, I'm giving them back to you.
So one thing, here's also eventually when you get to be my age and you have a child, hanging out with my daughter and having to remind her, hey, remember when you were like in grade school and you were an asshole to your dad a lot? Well,
My turn.
Yeah, you're 29 now. You could probably carry my drunk ass. Nighty night.
I'm sleeping on your couch.
Yeah. And then I have to get a look from her husband. Like, no, this is going to suck for me.
Damn it.
Damn it.
The old man's here.
Be responsible.
It always sucks when you have to be the responsible one.
Yeah.
When you're in a group of people and you want to just chill, and then suddenly you're like, oh, if I don't do anything, bad things are going to happen.
Right.
So I guess I have to be the responsible one.
I guess we need an adult.
And I am happy with the group of people that I go to Vegas with, where there are a couple quite responsible adults in that group. One of them is a lawyer.
Sure.
Like, not that just because you're a lawyer that means that you're super responsible.
My
but
mother's a lawyer. I know.
More or less, though, if you have gotten that far, you probably, in some respects, have your shit together.
Right.
Or
have the ability to have your shit together. Yeah.
Exactly. So, she's a very meticulous and organized person. And there's a couple other people in that group that are like very meticulous, organized, and I would the uncharitable way to describe them as busybodies.
Sure.
I say that lovingly because I appreciate the fact that they are that way, because that means I don't have to be that.
Right.
And I can just be like, all right, I'm just going to veg out on the fucking couch and not do anything at all. Because vacations, I feel like vacations are hard for me. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of moving and going and doing and people everywhere, and there's noise.
Wears you out.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck, I just need to not do anything. And in that group, I get to do that. I get to just not, if everyone else goes and does something, I can just sit there and not do anything, and everyone's just like, hey, Kale just needs to chill.
Needs to recharge his social battery for a moment.
So that's fine. We'll just leave him on the floor while we go and get some groceries for the Airbnb.
And it's crazy in my mind, but I totally get it. I'm like, you're in the entertainment capital of
the United States, if not the world.
Right.
At least when it comes to like active tourist entertainment that you as a person can interact with.
Right. There's all sorts of different exhibits and shows, and you can drink in public, and you can just people watch. You can go look at casinos, hear the sights, the sounds, and you know what? Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm just going to lay on this floor.
Just going to lay on the floor for a while because I had too many edibles. I mean, the thing is, though, like the thing also with that Vegas trip is that we're not going to Vegas because we want to do Vegas things. We're going to Vegas because it's the cheapest place for all of us to fly to. Mm-hmm. If it were cheaper for us to go to Seattle or Colorado or anywhere else that's not hotter than the fucking surface of the sun, we'd go there instead.
Well, the good news is actually this year it's not going to be very hot in Vegas.
Sure. I don't believe you.
Am I keeping a straight face right now?
You are.
Okay.
You're doing a very good job
Thank
of
you.
it.
I appreciate it.
I'm
maintaining my sincerity.
I am not convinced, but you are doing a very good job.
As I understand it, this is going to be kind of a cold snap.
If you had said something less ridiculous, I might have believed you. You just have to work on making a more believable lie.
I remember when I lived there, that was the first time in my life I ever got a heat stroke.
Oh, God.
Just by the virtue of being outside.
Just existing.
Yeah.
Although apparently they're having quite a lot of there's apparently a bit of a monsoon going on down there at the moment.
Well, that's good. They need the water.
They need the water, but also it has resulted in a large amount of West Nile infected mosquitoes emerging from the pools.
Well, that's great.
And whatnot that are lying around. But I've got about 2.5 weeks before I'm going to be there. So
hopefully they will have fogged them out by then.
They'll have fogged them out, or the water that they require to live will have dried up, which is entirely possible.
Sure.
We're going earlier this year than we usually do. We are in late July, or last year it was August, which was nightmarish, absolute, just hell on earth temperature wise.
August in Vegas is always cool.
Again, he's doing his great straight face.
Yeah.
It was hell on earth temperature wise last year. Mm-hmm. And I've told this story about one of my friends got stuck on a plane on the tarmac for like 9 fucking hours or some shit.
Yeah.
Several people shit themselves because they weren't allowed to get up and go to the bathroom. Someone had a heart attack. Like,
what a nightmare.
I don't remember what, I never looked up what actually came of that as far as like transportation.
He got home.
He got home, but I mean, like, because like Pete Buttigieg said that the Department of Transportation was going to investigate, that he was personally going to be looking into it, and I don't know what came of that necessarily, as far as like legal repercussions go. So that was United, Delta. I don't remember.
Yeah, Delta flies out of there, but I guess they all kind of fly
because we're Delta Airlines. Life is a fucking nightmare. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. It makes me glad to have the fucking direct Allegiant flights. That's nice. Just like the plane is taking off and there's probably not going to be any delay related to, oh, there's something going on at that other airport that means we can't land, or it's too busy there or something like that. We have to wait till they have an opening. It's like, no, these are the flights that are coming and going from that airport.
Right.
They're expecting us. We're one of 5 that are going to be leaving or something. Like, I mean, it's a little busier than that, but
You know, one of my favorite things is when you fly there during the really hot season is the air is unpredictable because of updraft.
oh yeah.
And so I remember I went there a couple of summers ago. Maybe it was last summer. I went there. Me and the situation went there.
Sure.
Not the one from the TV show, but my situation. And
Your situation.
yes,
A clone.
A clone, yeah.
A clone of the situation.
No. So anyway, she's sitting next to me, and the closer we get to Las Vegas, the more the air is like it's there, it's not there, it's there, it's not there, and so the plane would just make a vertical drop.
Yep.
And
Sudden air pressure changes.
And I I was like, yep, 2 of my fingers are now broken.
Because my hand is being squeezed so hard.
Yes.
Turbulence, I find, doesn't bother me all that much. I'm not. I tend not to be upset by turbulence unless if it's really bad. I'm gonna be like, wow, this is unpleasant, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
You ever use a barf bag?
I've not. No, I don't vomit very much. Like I didn't finish the thought. The thought continued. The sentence ended. I mean, of course, I have thrown up, but I tend not to. I don't tend to get sick travel wise. Like I don't get car sick. I tend not to get seasick. There are times where I have felt like woozy and stuff. I guess I say I tend not to get seasick. I haven't been on like a ship.
You haven't
or
been
like
at
a cruise
sea.
ship, but like, I've been on the lake on windy days fishing with my dad, where things were definitely rocking back and forth, and like I'll get a little woozy, but it never gets so far that I feel like I'm going to throw up. Even when I have like colds, I don't tend to vomit. The only times since I've been in the 4th grade that I've thrown up has been alcohol related.
Right. So like the 4th and 5th grade.
Yeah. After the 4th grade.
Yeah.
Immediately in 5th grade. Since then, like the only times that I've vomited is because I drank too much.
I can just about guarantee you. I feel like this is a guarantee.
What?
That when I was a kid living in Simi Valley, California, my grandpa paid for us all to go on a bass fishing trip in the Pacific Ocean.
Sea bass.
It was great. And so we're on this boat. It's about the size of your car.
Oh, God.
And there was about 15 of us. And for some reason, the swells that day were so fantastic. My head was over the side of that boat for the entire trip.
I mean, yeah, I have not been tested in that manner, so it's my constitution hasn't been put to that test yet. So we will see. But generally, in most situations where other people might get very nauseous and throw up, I for whatever reason don't like that. There have been times where I felt very nauseous and been like, I feel like I might throw up, and I just don't for some reason.
Right.
I don't
You
know
ever
why.
have to chew it back?
No. It's I can't recall that ever having happened to me. Maybe I just avoid the situations that would cause that or something. I don't know why it is. It's weird.
You just have you can eat things and make a billy goat puke.
Eat things and make a billy goat puke. That's not true.
No.
I mean, okay, I could eat those things.
Yeah.
It just might come out the other end in an unpleasant way.
So you don't barf. You just get the squirts.
Instead it's diarrhea.
Yeah.
Cha. But yeah, I don't know.
So I noticed on the Snappy Chats.
The Snappy Chats.
For some reason, I don't know, maybe I've just got this weird morbid curiosity about things.
Okay.
And then the algorithm has caught on to it.
Okay.
But you go and you look at the different stories that people have posted. It's a lot of pimple popping. And people fixing horses' feet.
I mean, I've definitely on my YouTube algorithm, it's usually not the pimple popping. That doesn't come up for me, but I have occasionally, for one reason or another, the YouTube algorithm will show me farrier videos,
right?
For some reason, like, hey, here's this channel where this guy's a farrier, and
right.
he treats horses' hooves for various ailments, and cleans them and he reshoes them.
Right.
Like,
so some of them that's very satisfying.
Yeah,
to watch them.
Yeah.
Take off the excess hoof and then clean it up and then sand them down, put a shoe on.
Satisfying.
And some of them, like recently, they cut them down and there was this black spot in the middle, and they sort of press on it and it oozes.
No,
and
I
so
don't
I
don't want that.
So they have to cut more of it off to be very gingerly about it. Then they have to spray iodine on it. And,
no, thanks. No, thanks. Not that one.
well, this is just turning out to just be the gross out podcast.
Yeah. Well, like and pimple popping too. My sister has watched that Dr. Pimple Popper show. She finds that satisfying. I don't.
You don't?
I can tolerate watching someone like pop a really significant blackhead. For some reason, that's less gag worthy to me. Right. Where it's like, oh, that actually looks and would probably feel very satisfying.
Yeah.
But like pimples and acne, no, it grosses me out.
Sure.
Ugh. I don't like it.
I see we've covered pus, covered pimples, vomiting, diarrhea. What are we missing here?
Shitting. We haven't talked about. Diarrhea is in there. Yeah. I don't know.
Piss. No?
When's the last time you got pissed on?
I was pissed off yesterday.
Let's talk about Chemist.
Sure.
So as we talked about earlier in the episode, Chemist is an American doom metal band. I think is still the most appropriate term to call them. They're established in 2012 in Denver, Colorado. Their first album, Absolution, came out in 2013, followed by Hunted in 2016, and then let's see, what was the third album? Desolation in 2018.
Right.
And then this, Deceiver, came out in 2021.
But they have new stuff coming out.
What they came out with most recently was in April of last year, which is another EP called Where the Cold Wind Blows. And as far as I know, that's another one of those like EPs where they cover like classic folk songs sort of deals, but they doomify it. Those albums those EPs are interesting because they feel different. They feel, to me at least, significantly different from their album material, and I think that's kind of the point of like, hey, we're doing this thing that we enjoy, where we cover these like old folk songs but make them, epic heavy metal versions, which I mean that's neat, but I haven't found myself particularly attached to any of them.
Okay.
So I don't know if they've got some new, like a new album on the way or cooking. They very well might. It's been 3 years since this one came out, but this came out in 2021. Oh, by the way, they're signed to Nuclear Blast, which we've talked a little. It's been a bit since we've talked about Nuclear Blast as a label, where it seemed like, I think they've softened up on this lately, or digital production has kind of caught up, where for a while, at least what I had read many times online, I don't know if it was particularly true or if it really depended on the band, and if like bands were willing to foot their own bill for the production. Maybe it was different, but they had a reputation apparently for kind of pushing bands towards using cheap digital production, which can sound very clean, but there's always something a little too clean about it, right? Especially cheap, fast, efficient digital production. It can sound very good, but depending upon what gear you have going into that digital production, it can also sound very artificial and hollow. and
overproduced.
Yeah, overproduced is a good word for it. And I remember listening to Desolation and kind of feeling that way about it. Like, this just feels too clean, too slick. This feels a little overproduced. It didn't. Something about Desolation didn't quite feel right to me. It felt like it was losing a little bit of the grit and the fuzz that their previous albums had. And I feel like this is a good middle ground between like nice hi-fi production and like the what you hear in other doom metal bands, which is the that analog fuzz and grit that they got to them. This I think this sounds pretty great. This doesn't. I didn't get a really strong sense of it feeling overproduced this time. Do you have any feelings on that?
No.
Or,
no, it felt like it was competently produced.
Yeah,
that's how I would put it. Like somebody who knew what they were doing, but didn't feel like I'm going to use all the tricks.
Yeah, they didn't go batshit crazy with it. It just it felt everything. The production felt appropriate for what this is, because I think their sound kind of lends itself to a more hi-fi sort of style. So the band is made up of Phil Pendergast, who plays guitar, is also on vocals. I believe he is the primary vocalist, most of the clean vocals on there. I think that's him. Then there's Ben Hutcherson, who also plays guitar and does vocals. Neither of them are attributed as lead vocalist or lead guitarist, so I think they kind of trade. But I couldn't tell you a meaningful difference between the two of their voices. Maybe Ben does the screamed vocals. I don't know. If they're trading off, they sound similar enough to each other that I couldn't really discern a difference between them.
Nice.
So that's interesting at the very least. Sometimes, when bands have two vocalists, it's very obvious who is who.
Right. Or when they have three vocalists that are three extremely different sounding people.
Mastodon. Not that that's a bad thing at all when it comes to Mastodon. It's very cool. But you absolutely know who is singing what in Mastodon. They have... Each of them has their own very specific vocal style.
Which definitely carried over to the super group that... Killer Be Killed.
Yeah,
you definitely know.
Well, because that was Troy and then fucking Greg Puciato, wasn't it?
Greg Puciato and Troy and the other lead vocalist, of course, Max Cavalera.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot Max Cavalera was in that too. And then Ben Kohler played the drums.
Right.
That's craziest supergroup. Speaking of supergroups that Greg Puciato is in, I at some point we'll have to, I don't know if they've got a full album coming out at some point, but we should talk about Better Lovers at some point, which is a supergroup made up of Greg Puciato, Jordan Buckley, a couple other people from the Every Time I Die Fallout, and a few other names I recognized. I can't. Will Putney.
Oh, really?
Is in there as well.
Okay.
So yeah, couple other names that I recognized from around the sort of metalcore space. And the music they've released so far has been kind of exactly what you would expect from a fusion of like Every Time I Die and like Greg Puciato's vocal style with some Dillinger Escape Plan vibes in there. And
what was the Will Putney controversy?
I don't think there was a Will. You might be thinking of someone else.
Yeah.
Will Putney is mostly an engineer,
right?
And producer. Alongside, he writes and records for Fit for an Autopsy.
Right.
As far as I'm aware, there's nothing.
He doesn't really tour with them though.
No, he doesn't. He stays at home,
right?
Because he's usually busy producing for other bands,
right? That's his main gig.
His main gig is as a music producer and sound engineer.
Do love me some Fit for an Autopsy.
Yeah, God, they're constant. Anytime I make a playlist for like a D&D character, half of it ends up being Fit for an Autopsy for some reason. Like if that character is at all like kind of has some violent tendencies or something like that, there's gonna be a ton of Fit in that playlist. They're just, I don't know, they just hit in a perfect sort of sweet spot there. But anyway, that was a digression and a half.
Sure.
But so Chemists. Deceiver is their fourth full-length album. I've never looked too far into it. If there is supposed to be some kind of thematic through line to their albums, because all of their album art I think is clearly done by like the same person,
right?
And there are characters that seem to be shared between the album art. Like their first album has this wizard and like a very classic like barbarian lady on the front of it, and then the second album has the same wizard with some zombies around him, and then the third has the barbarian lady again, and then this one has this like scarred up dude with white hair on it. Like,
is this a concept album?
I don't know. I need to like I didn't look up too much information about the album itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could be a concept album. Maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Because here's the funny thing is I had that thought in the back of my head, but it didn't quite make its way into my consciousness. And I'm driving to get Asian food with my 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And before I was able to have the thought, he's like, "This is a concept album, isn't it?" Oh my God, I was just going to think that.
Probably. I mean, they're definitely the type of band that, loves to sort of drench all of their lyrics in a layer of fantasy and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, just again, going back to the cover art for their albums, like it's kind of clear that these dudes are sort of fans of like you could airbrush any of this cover art onto the side of a van and it would be awesome. Let's get a van. And airbrush some Chemist album covers on the doors. And it will be the Chemist van.
You know, I still remember my mom's best friend's boyfriend, Ken, had a conversion van from, I think, 1975 that he had the poster from Star Wars airbrushed onto the side of it.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, and I remember, like, "Hey, Mom, can I ride in Ken's van?" And she puts her arm around me, holds me close like this. No, I know it's got Star Wars on it, and that's cool. But you are not getting in the grown man's conversion van.
He's a weed dealer, honey. That man is a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're a little older.
Let's not tempt him into human trafficking. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, these guys are no stranger to sort of putting together sort of fantastical kind of epic storylines in their lyrics. I don't personally know how linked together they all are. If they have made some sort of universe with all of their music or not. That would be neat. But
the Chemiverse.
Welcome to the Chemiverse. Anytime I think of Chemists, I always think back to a quote. When I first found out about this band, was on like the doom metal subreddit like 5 years ago or something like that. And it was like, oh, this song. Okay, I'll click on that. This is cool. What do the comments say? And the top comment was Chemist fucks.
Yeah.
And now that's just forever in my head associated with this band as Chemist fucks.
Right.
And I think one of the things that I noticed with this album especially, and I talked to you about this yesterday, is that they have an insane amount of low end in the sound of this album. It's just so rumbly and bassy.
It's thick.
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 I said to you, I was like, if this album were a person, they'd have a big ass.
Yeah. This album is pear-shaped.
This is a bottom-heavy album. Got a low center of gravity. You couldn't knock this album over too easily.
No, and it's got the cushion for the pushing.
This album had a BBL. But yeah, it's just there's a ton of bass, and I don't know who played bass on this album, by the way. I guess I only got part of the way through talking about the lineup of the band. Zach Coleman is on drums. I don't know if they had a bass player at the time, because their original bass player, David Bayers, I believe, left the band in 2020. And then in 2021, David Small joined as a touring member and then eventually became a permanent member of the band. But I don't know if he was with them for the recording of this album, or I mean, again, both Phil and Ben are guitarists.
Yeah.
So they could probably just play the bass for the recording. Like that's, not the craziest thing in the world. So I don't know if it was one of them playing the bass during the recording or if they had someone else do it. I don't know.
I've been the bass player in a few bands.
Yeah. It's when, the skill sets are not necessarily 1-to-1, but it's close. Yeah. I have to imagine anyway.
It's a similar concept, but not the same concept.
It's like Spanish and Portuguese.
Right, exactly. Playing guitar is very Spanish. Playing the bass
is Portuguese. Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone knows that. That's why, again, Brazilian butt lift. The Portuguese, if you speak Portuguese, you have a big ass. That's the weirdest stereotype.
That is the weirdest stereotype. Yeah.
If you, not even people from X country, just if you speak Portuguese, even if it's not your first language,
right? But if you happen to speak Portuguese, if
you learned Portuguese,
you're gonna take the class, and the final day of the class, you're gonna feel weird when you're walking. It's like, oh my god,
my ass. Maybe I need to learn Portuguese because I have no ass.
I hear you, man.
And
I have a bend where I sit.
It's it's not even, hey, it'd be nice to have a nice butt. Ladies like a nice butt. No, I just want to be more comfortable when I'm sitting down.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I got a bony ass. There are so many seats that I feel like should be comfortable, and I sit in them and I'm like, God, I just have to rearrange myself because there's no fat between my bones and the seat.
I would like to go watch baseball at our local Corbett Field over here, but I've done it before, and I sit in the bleachers, and I get about 10, 15 minutes in, and I'm like, this is fucking miserable.
We're both shaped like Hank Hill.
Yeah, yes, we are. I mean, I have to wear a belt.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how big the pants are, I got to wear a belt because ain't shit holding them up.
There's no hips.
No hips, no ass.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's so yeah. We should both learn Portuguese.
Yeah,
learn Portuguese, and then we'll get a big ass.
Oh boy,
that's stupid, and it's over now. So does this album slap?
Yeah, it does.
Hell yeah, I think this album definitely slaps. I wouldn't say nothing on this made me go absolutely crazy. Mm-hmm. There's the highest highs were not particularly mountainous. But this is a very consistent album, I would say. Like nothing made me go absolutely feral, and I was like, oh, I gotta listen to that again. It's just like, yeah, this is all pretty rad.
I think that there is one song that did stand up a little bit for me.
Okay,
above the other songs. Are you gonna ask?
I'm getting there. Right. So I collected 6 reviews, came out to a 78.6. So now we'll get to what's your favorite song?
I'd say Living Pyre was possibly
Living Pyre, and that seems to be the most popular song. I think it was maybe their single off of this album. At least Spotify numbers for that song are significantly higher. I like Living Pyre. Yeah. I had a hard time choosing a favorite necessarily. I ended up just writing down A Vernal Gate, which is the opening track.
Sure.
That's
got a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's got a lot of energy. I think it's the one I've listened to the most, probably just by virtue of it being the opening track and me like starting this album and getting halfway through it several times and then having to go do something else. And so I like that song. I think Living Pyre is great as well. Mm-hmm. I like the closing track too. All of the songs on here are solid. Mm-hmm. To me though, none of them are like insane, crazy, head and shoulders above the rest. In my opinion anyway.
Right. It's a consistent album.
Yes, it's very consistent. It's consistently good. But I guess that sort of leads us into what metal we bestow upon this album, like Mas Kanata to Chewbacca.
It's a solid silver.
I agree with you there. Yeah, this is a solid silver. This is an enjoyable album. I feel like it's got enough to offer that if you're interested in metal at all, it's got a little something for everyone.
You'll laugh, you'll cry,
you'll shit,
you'll get diarrhea,
you'll piss yourself,
you'll
vomit,
you'll ooze pus.
We brought it back. But yeah, this is a solid silver, I would say.
Yes.
So next week, what do you want to talk about?
I'd like to go back. I actually played you one of the songs from this album. You haven't heard the rest of it, though.
Okay.
It's sort of a very lighthearted, fun, sort of somewhat funky thrash album from a band called Mordred. It was a debut album from 1988 called Fool's Game.
Fool's Game by Mordred.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a very light album.
Okay.
I mean, not light. I mean, like thematically, it's light. It's not.
Okay.
There's a lot of heavy songs on here, but.
Okay. I'm not getting hoodwinked, am I?
No. You're
okay.
not.
Okay.
No, this is an album that I might not have ever bought because I never saw it in the store.
Okay.
But Columbia House sent it to me.
Interesting.
And so I opened it up. Let's give this a listen. Oh, it's fucking fun. I love this. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's ringing bells. I'll have to make sure we haven't listened to it before.
We have not.
We haven't. Okay. I think it's ringing bells just because you showed it.
I played you a song. Yeah.
And I don't even remember that.
The guitar work on it was pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Fool's Game by Mordred.
Mm-hmm.
Next time on the Bronze Medalist Podcast. Until then, why don't you go ahead and follow our pages on social media like Facebook or the website formerly known as Twitter, or you could also subscribe to our podcast feed on whatever service you're listening to us right now. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.